and I'm going to recreate these cards. I've used the Christmas to Remember stamp set for the sentiments, and the beautiful the two largest dies from the Christmas pine cone dies, and some of the Lights Aglow designer series paper, which is in the mini catalogue. I'm using this one. So if I this card I designed for a challenge over it was a sketch challenge for the Stampin' Cove, which is a Facebook group that my team leader Emma Goddard, Coastal Crafter, runs, and I'm on the design team. So I created that, and I had some leftovers, and I created this last Sunday for the Global Design Project theme challenge, and it was one of the cards that was picked for as a winner, one of the 3 cards, which is absolutely lovely. And somebody had asked me if I would do remake it, so I'll do it, but I don't know about you, I find it really hard to recreate cards exactly the same. So I'm going to do it slightly different, but I am going to make 2 cards. I pop those up there and out of the way. I'm sticking with Evening Evergreen for the bases, so that is a sheet of A4. I scored it at 10.5 down here, and then I cut it at 14.8, so you get 2 bases. I've got some basic white here, and these panels, I see I've cut one down to fit and not the other. So these, let me get my trimmer. So these should be, let's see, what did I do? That is 10. So 10, I'm sure I did 2 of these. Never works out straight away. So 10 by 14.3, so half a centimetre smaller, which gives you a little border round. So they're now at the same width. And then I've taken a sheet of the designer series paper. It's beautiful, both sides are beautiful, but I wanted to show this pretty one, which has a sort of a bokeh effect in the background, and white and gold accents. So I've just split that. It's a 6x6 paper pack, and I've split that in half, so that's 3 inches. I don't know what that works out in centimeters. Let's see what it works out in centimeters. That is 7.6. And I've cut it to the length of the card, which is 14.8. And then I have ahead of time die cut these layers from, this is basic white, and then this layer from soft succulent, and the only thing left I have to die cut is some of the pine cones, and I'm going to use early espresso for that, so just bear with me one moment. So let me just bring in my little cut and emboss machine. And it's like a lot of die cutting machines out there. You have a sandwich, so number 1, number 2 cutting plate, and then I've got the outline dies here. So I'm going to do, you get 2 small ones and 1 of the larger ones, so I'll run this through a couple of times. see how many I've got. 1, 2, 3 big ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little ones. So we want one more little one. It's wedged in there. So let me get my pokey tool. I had a class yesterday. It's not a pokey tool. So everything's not where it should be. But the last class of the year, which is just amazing. I don't know how time just goes away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little ones, did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, yes. And one larger one, so I think that will fit on there. There we go. Stuck on that very well. So I've now found my pokey tool. Get that off there. And then just use the brush attachment to pull out all the extra bits on there. Now I've got a bit of foam matting somewhere. There we go. I've been having as well as having a class, I've had a little bit of a reorganise, and can't find anything. Take those last bits out. And I apologise for my fingers being a bit orangey. I made some homemade soup for lunch, and I used a butternut squash, and I always find that it stains my fingers. I've washed my hands. There we go. Let's get all those bits out. The brush does work, but I think I'm so used to just using the pokey tool end. Come out really well. So the next thing will be finding what I've done with my silicone mat so that I can glue these bits on. Right, let's take that out of the way. Pop those on my metallic tray so I don't lose them. I'm always losing dies. Anybody else, or is that just me being disorganized? So my silicone mat, where is that? There we go. Lovely. So I'm going to find these little bits everywhere, aren't I? Popping this bit on. Bit of multi-liquid glue. I've got one of these lovely little brushes that my lovely friend Hazel gifted me, and I'm just going to use that to dab some glue just in certain places. I'm not worried about it sticking everywhere. And I know a lot of people have reservations about this glue, but I actually really like it. So that's going to do me for the minute. Check I've got it in the right orientation. Pop that down. And I quite like it. It sort of offsets. So I'm just concentrating on the pine cone elements. Perfect. There's one bit of the green that I didn't pick out there. And then we want to add the pine cones on. So I'm going to do the same to the pine cones. Just concentrating on the slightly bigger areas, but I'm not being too precious about it, as you can see. And the beauty of the silicone mat is it just wipes off. It's really easy, and these fit over exactly, so you're not going to see the green. Hopefully, if I can get this on in the right direction. I'm trying not to get my head in camera. You can kind of manipulate them. And it hides the green, and I just love that effect. I don't know about you. Should be using tweezers or something, probably. And with the wet glue, it just gives you a little bit of time to figure it out. And move them around if you've got them in the slightly wrong position. So we'll do those there. I think we've got enough glue out. So yes, I'm my last classes of the year. And then I can concentrate and make sure I'm ready for Christmas. I've got my brother is bringing my nieces and nephews over, which is very exciting. So we're planning some bits with them. It'd be lovely for Mum and Dad and me and my husband to spend a bit of time with them. Haven't seen them other than on Zoom calls since, well, for over 2 years because of the pandemic. So that's going to be lovely. Make sure I put glue on the right side. Oh, I think I got that quite right. Let's see if there's enough glue on this bit. I hope you can't hear my husband talking on his radio. I normally shut my door. Anyway, you get the gist. There we go. Lovely. So that's made. do, we've got a little bit of heat embossing to do, and I'm gonna make these cards slightly different. I'm gonna pop that out of the way because when this dries it will just rub off that excess glue. So that will be trimmed, but we're gonna do a little bit of stamping. I think in one I'm going to put, may this be a Christmas to remember and cherish. That's from the Christmas to Remember stamp set, which I love. I love all the fonts. And I'm stamping this in Evening Evergreen. Friends like you make this season special. I think that's really lovely. And then we're going to do some heat embossing. So I've got another bit of Evening Evergreen. I'm going to heat emboss in white. And I'm going to actually do an element. I'm going to heat emboss it in gold. So on my original cards, this one I used one of the elements here, but I used the Real Red Pearlized Enamel Effects Basics to create this sort of branch, and I coloured this with an Evening Evergreen stamping blend, the dark blend. So that was really lovely. So let's have a look. Let's get our Versamark. Well, that's so dirty, that one. I've got my Dust Buddy. In fact, I think I'm going to get my other Versamark. It's not much cleaner, but anyway, we'll do Merry Christmas twice. And one there. I've got some white embossing powder there. Maybe this isn't the best size or shape container. That went on better, didn't it? So that one's all right with white. And then we've got some gold. And I'm just going to plonk it. Get that nice and covered. Pick it up with some tweezers and plonk it straight down in the powder. Make sure I've got some on all of it. Always do it again a second time if you haven't got the right amount of coverage on there. So I'm going to bring in my little homemade tray, pop that down there, and heat emboss. I find, so that's really pretty. I don't think I got the center of that one. So I'm happy with that, but if you weren't, you could always dip it again, let it dry, dip it, and add more gold. But this is just tin foil, and I find, and it's the lid of a shoebox I think I've used, that's warped over time, but it stops the paper from curling quite as much, which I always think is quite handy. So let's pop that away. and then one, so that's the right, that's a little bit long, I think, should be right. One, I'm going to add some strips of white. Now I could put it on a white layer. Let's get rid of some of that. I could put it on a white layer, but I'm quite frugal, and I don't know about you, but I've always got loads of scraps. So let me just show you. I did this with gold foil on one of the on the very first card I made. Just going to pop some glue down one edge, and then using my grid paper to make sure that that is straight. I'm going to pop that down there, and I can see that that's straight, that's straight. So theoretically, that's a thin line, a line. Again, just a little bit on the edge. And I know this is longer than it should be, but we can trim it. That's the beauty of having a good pair of scissors. So have that straight. I think the tricky thing for me is making sure they are the same width. And that's just a visual, let's have a visual look there. That'll do for me. So I'm gonna take my snips. Trim that down. There we go. Lovely. So let's have a look. Let's add this. And again, I'm using my grid paper just to try and get that roughly straight. Brilliant. Now let's use my bone folder on that. We're going to put one on the inside. Lovely, nice little, that went a bit squiff. So you've got enough time there to add that in. And then we just need to decide how we're going to trim this. And the easiest way for me, I am going to do this the same as I did before. So I'm just going to find a nice little break there. And then if we trim that off there, cut those there, you can do that one across there, and I think let's just, do we want to fussy cut? My trusty trimmer back in. see what this looks like. Lagged just on one end. I think I like that one. So do I want any ribbon? I don't want to cover any of that up this time. And then it's the, no, still going to have that across the middle. Just sticking again, just stick gluing the pine cones. And then I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals. Now, do I need, does it need a bit of gold ribbon? What do we think? Yeah, I don't want to cover that up this time. Just pop that down there. Does it want a ribbon? Oh, I don't know. I've got that. Oh, that's pretty. That's a nice little double bow using this very pretty satin edged ribbon. And I've made this by trimming it into 2 bits. So we'll add that with a glue dot. I'm gonna add that there and just trim off those edges a bit higher like that. Lovely. And I'm going to use some of these, bring in another colour, the red and green adhesive backed pearls. I think they're really sweet, so I'm going to pop some of these around there. So what do we think? I like that. Pop that up there for a minute. So you can see variations on a theme. There's something about making them all the same. I really struggle. So let's pop that on the inside of the other one. It's cold here today. We had a nice walk on frosty ground with the dog this morning, but it's raining now, which is a shame. So see, that side is very pretty. I'm almost tempted to do a cut so that you could see both, but I can do that on the next one, can't I? I still haven't sent all my Christmas cards. Haven't written them, let alone sent them. Every year I say I'm not going to wait till the last minute, and I do. There we go. Let's straightish. And then I'm just going to have a look. That has cut quite nicely, so I'm going to stick that there. It covers up slightly more of the green, the DSP. So I am going to do I want to use this again? No. We are going to and then again I'm going to chop this down. That's the easiest way to do a flag end if you haven't got the punch. So I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to pop that across there with some dimensionals, mini dimensionals here. Now I think what I'm going to do for this one, do I want to put that underneath there? No. I'm going to, what have I done with it? I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put some of this, just a couple of loops of gold. This time I'm just going to loop it, and then need a little tiny bit of the tearing tape. I'm going to pop that across there. And take that off. And then we can lay that across there so it's stuck. Take those off. And then that hides that there. Lovely. And then from the same adhesive backs, rather than the red, I'm going to use gold this time. we'll do there. It's a little bit plainer, but lovely. And then we've got this element here. I nearly forgot that. So on this one, I'm going to pop a glue dot under that main berry at that main circle at the end, and then one. I must have overheated those gold bits. I'm going to stick that under there, and we can fix that. Nobody's going to, although it happened on camera. This is how I would fix that. There we go. You would never know, but that just adds another little element of gold into that card. I'm going to just snip that one bit off there, that straggly bit. So here we are. Slightly different, each of them, but I think they've turned out really lovely. Nice little sentiment on the inside. And there we go. That's the one I've made. Those are the two that I made today. So thank you. Hopefully, oh, there we are. Hopefully that was in camera, most of it, and you enjoyed the video. If you are already a subscriber, then thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. If not, then hit that subscription button down the bottom and the little bell so you get notified once a week when I post my videos. That's all for now. Stay safe. Take care. Bye for now.